The Art of War, Simplified. Written by Vincent Gagliano. Narrated by Helpful Matthew. Preface. In 2005, I was a high school student when I first came upon Sun Tzu's book, The Art of War. I had purchased a copy and looked forward to reading it in my spare time that day. A piece of literary history dating back 2,500 years was at my fingertips. What nuggets of truth would the book have in store for an avid chess student? The world's oldest, most famous, and least chance-dependent military game. I cracked open the book, read it from cover to cover, and was disappointed. Looking back, I probably should have known that the lessons in the book weren't always obvious, at least at first. Josh Waitzkin, the subject of the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer and the author of The Art of Learning, would later write that this was typical of Far Eastern proverbs, where the lessons would make you sit and digest their true meanings. Even in the movie, The Karate Kid, the 1984 version, not the remake, Mr. Miyagi's methods of teaching Daniel martial arts seemed to make no sense whatsoever. What did waxing cars have to do with karate that, say, breaking boards didn't? But at the time, this was of no help to me whatsoever, especially not to a teenager who was more gifted at math than a Chinese scholar. So I gave up, gave the book to the school, and moved on with my life. 5 years later, I was home from college at the University of Florida for the summer. I had taken an interest in learning all I could about leadership. I was well aware that I did not have the savviest business instincts and was looking for something I could read that would help me. While skimming through the titles, I came across The Art of War for Managers, written by Gerald A. Michelson and his son, Steve. As I flipped through the pages, both men took the passages I had read back in high school and explained them in ways I could understand. I was hooked, and bought a copy of the original through Amazon. Then one day while I was sitting on my bed reading, inspiration struck. Many books on the art of war that cater to a broader audience are academic translations, like what I read the first time. And many of the books that explain these concepts clearly target niche markets. What was the chance I would have read The Art of War for Managers if I wasn't interested in management or leadership? Why not craft a book that was both for a broad audience and explained Sun Tzu's concepts clearly? Hence, The Art of War Simplified was born. Unlike many other books based on The Art of War Simplified is in no way intended to be a scholarly, word-for-word translation of the original Chinese text. It also takes the opposite approach to a scholarly translation with commentary, which provides a translation in addition to more wording to help explain the concepts. My intent is to stick to the spirit and background of the original book, while boiling down the statements in the original to more basic concepts. Also, because I would have greatly appreciated in the original, I will give you a plan to help study the book and put it to good use. Because, as I will say in the text, just because you know how to win doesn't mean you will win. But what makes The Art of War an important classic? Why should any edition of this book, whether it is an original translation or an adaptation, stand out in the pile of business or military books offered today? You can easily envision battle as a military metaphor in virtually any competitive discipline. For example, a top Fortune 500 company is run like a powerful army. The CEO is like the head general, dictating the company's direction. They have considerable resources at their disposal, whether they are tied to their people, soldiers, their advantages in material, supplies, or some other dynamic advantage, initiative, cycle time, and the like. The company routinely fights other companies or armies in its industry, but the battleground is its customers' hearts, minds, and ultimately wallets. Mistakes in strategy or tactics will ultimately result in a loss of sales or worse. Even if the battles now are different than they were back when Sun Tzu wrote the original ideas are still relevant today. The original version of The Art of War is a slice of ancient history, written down and reproduced for future generations to read. And
Sample complete. Ready to continue?